In our relentless pursuit of happiness, we often chase external markers: career success, material possessions, perfect relationships, or endless stimulation. Yet, for many, a persistent sense of unease, a nagging feeling that something profound is missing, lingers beneath the surface. We strive, achieve, and acquire, only to find that genuine contentment remains elusive. What if the key to unlocking true happiness lies not in what we gain externally, but in an inner dimension we've been systematically ignoring? Carl Jung, the visionary Swiss psychiatrist, offered a profound framework for understanding the human psyche through his concept of archetypes. These universal primordial patterns reside in the collective unconscious, shaping our perceptions, influencing our behaviors, and guiding our life journeys. While archetypes like the mother, the lover, or the warrior are often celebrated and recognized, there exists a powerful feminine archetype that our modern, youth-obsessed, and outwardly focused society frequently overlooks, dismisses, or even fears. Ignoring this archetype, whether in ourselves or in the women around us, can indeed sabotage our deepest sense of well-being and fulfillment. This article will delve into this often neglected feminine archetype, the sage crone, exploring its profound significance, why it's so commonly ignored, and how its neglect can actively undermine your happiness. By understanding and integrating its wisdom, you can unlock a deeper, more authentic, and enduring sense of contentment. Revisiting Jungian archetypes, more than just labels. Before we dive into our specific archetype, let's briefly recap Jung's concept. Archetypes are not rigid categories or stereotypes to box people into. Instead, they are dynamic, energetic patterns that exist within the collective unconscious, influencing all individuals regardless of gender. Every person, male or female, carries the potential for all archetypes to manifest within their psyche. The goal of understanding them is not to label, but to recognize these powerful, universal energies and how they play out in our lives and relationships. They are the fundamental building blocks of the human experience, guiding our instincts, dreams, and narratives. Introducing the overlooked archetype, the sage crone, Hecate. Among the pantheon of feminine archetypes, the sage, often referred to as the crone or the wise woman, stands as a beacon of profound wisdom, intuition, and transformative power. This archetype is intrinsically linked to the later stages of life, to experience, and to a deep, inner knowing that transcends superficial appearances. In Greek mythology, she is often associated with figures like Hecate, the goddess of crossroads, magic, witchcraft, and liminal spaces, a deity who embodies ancient wisdom, fierce independence, and the power to navigate the unseen realms. Core energy, wisdom, intuition, introspection, transformation, spiritual insight, detachment, inner knowing, acceptance of cycles, life, death, rebirth, authenticity, discernment. Why is this archetype so often ignored or feared in modern society? Youth obsession. Our culture disproportionately values youth, vitality, and external beauty. The sage crone archetype, with its association with aging and the decline of physical prowess, directly challenges this narrative. We are conditioned to resist aging, rather than embrace the wisdom and liberation that can come with it. Fear of the unknown, death. The crone archetype is comfortable with the mysteries of life and death, with endings and beginnings. Modern society often shies away from acknowledging mortality and the inevitable cycles of loss and transformation, preferring to focus on growth and expansion. Discomfort with intuition and the non-rational. The sage crone operates from a place of deep intuition, inner knowing, and non-linear wisdom. Our rational, scientific, and logical world often distrusts or dismisses these forms of intelligence, preferring quantifiable data and tangible results. Emphasis on productivity and external achievement. This archetype values introspection, contemplation, and being over constant doing. In a society driven by productivity, busyness, and external achievements, the quiet wisdom of the sage crone can be seen as unproductive or irrelevant. Patriarchal structures. Historically, patriarchal societies have often devalued the wisdom of older women, particularly those who operate outside traditional roles of wife and mother. The independent, insightful, and often challenging nature of the crone can be perceived as threatening to established power structures. By ignoring the sage crone, we not only dismiss a vital part of the feminine psyche, but also cut ourselves off from a wellspring of profound guidance and inner peace that is essential for genuine happiness. Positive manifestations of the sage crone. When the sage crone archetype is integrated and honored, its positive manifestations are incredibly enriching. Deep intuition and discernment. She possesses an uncanny ability to see through illusions, to discern truth from falsehood, and to understand the underlying dynamics of situations. Her gut feelings are often uncannily accurate. Inner peace and self-possession. Having navigated life's storms, she is comfortable in her own skin, unburdened by external expectations. She finds peace in solitude and is not easily swayed by external opinions or fleeting trends. Capacity for profound transformation. She understands that endings are merely preludes to new beginnings. She can guide herself and others through periods of intense change, loss, and rebirth, seeing the inherent wisdom in every transition. Authenticity and integrity. Stripped of the need to impress or conform, she lives in alignment with her deepest values and truths. She is honest, direct, and possesses an unwavering sense of integrity. Compassionate detachment. She can offer wisdom and support without becoming entangled in the drama of others. Her compassion is born from understanding, not from emotional reactivity. Connection to cycles. She is attuned to the natural rhythms of life, understanding that everything has its season: growth, decay, rest, and renewal. This acceptance brings a profound sense of peace. Mentorship and guidance. She is a natural guide, offering profound insights and a steady hand to those seeking direction, drawing from a vast reservoir of lived experience. How ignoring the sage crone sabotages your happiness. The neglect of the sage crone archetype, both individually and collectively, creates significant imbalances that can actively undermine our happiness in profound ways. Lack of inner guidance and intuition. When we ignore the sage crone, we silence our inner voice of wisdom. We become overly reliant on external advice, logical analysis, or societal expectations, often leading to decisions that are not aligned with our true selves. This can manifest as chronic indecision, a feeling of being lost, or repeatedly making choices that lead to dissatisfaction despite seeming right on paper. Happiness becomes elusive because we are constantly looking outside ourselves for answers that can only be found within. Fear of aging and change. A society that devalues the crone archetype inevitably fosters a deep-seated fear of aging. We cling desperately to youth, investing heavily in anti-aging products and procedures, and dreading the natural progression of life. This resistance to change extends beyond physical appearance. It makes us fearful of career transitions, relationship shifts, or any ending that signals a new beginning. When we resist the inherent cycles of life, we are in constant conflict with reality, leading to anxiety, regret, and an inability to embrace the wisdom that comes with experience. True happiness requires an acceptance of impermanence and the ability to find meaning in every phase. Superficiality and disconnection from meaning. The sage crone encourages deep introspection and a search for meaning beyond the material. When this archetype is ignored, we risk living a life focused solely on superficial achievements, external validation, and fleeting pleasures. We might accumulate wealth, status, or a vast network of acquaintances, but still feel an aching emptiness, a lack of purpose, or a profound sense of disconnection from our true selves and from others. Genuine happiness is often found in meaning, depth, and authentic connection, which are the very domains of the sage crone. Inability to process grief and loss. Life inevitably brings loss. of loved ones, relationships, dreams, or even identities. The crone archetype, with its comfort in liminal spaces and its understanding of death as a part of life's cycle, is crucial for healthy grieving and transformation. When this archetype is repressed, we struggle to process loss, often getting stuck in denial, anger, or prolonged sorrow. We resist the necessary death of old ways of being, preventing the rebirth that follows. This stagnation prevents emotional healing and blocks the path to renewed happiness. Loss of authenticity and self-possession. The sage crone archetype is fiercely authentic, unconcerned with external approval. Ignoring this archetype can lead to a life lived to please others, to conform to societal norms, or to maintain a false persona. This constant performance is exhausting and creates a deep sense of inauthenticity, where our true self feels hidden or denied. Happiness cannot flourish when we are not living in alignment with our deepest truths and values. Burnout and exhaustion. In a culture that glorifies constant doing and productivity, we often over-rely on archetypes like the warrior, drive, ambition, or the mother, nurturing, giving. Without the balancing influence of the sage crone, which values rest, introspection, and mindful being, we are prone to burnout, chronic stress, and exhaustion. The sage crone reminds us of the importance of cycles, of withdrawal and renewal, which are essential for sustainable happiness and well-being. Stagnation and resistance to growth. The sage crone is the archetype of continuous transformation and evolution through introspection. When we ignore this inner guide, we resist looking deeply at ourselves, confronting our shadows, or challenging our limiting beliefs. This leads to stagnation, where we repeat old patterns, refuse to learn from mistakes, and remain stuck in cycles of unhappiness. True growth, and thus lasting happiness, requires the courage to face our inner landscape and embrace continuous self-evolution. Recognizing the sage, crone in yourself and others. To integrate this crucial archetype, you must first learn to recognize its presence and absence. In yourself, do you trust your intuition or always second-guess it? Are you comfortable with solitude and quiet reflection, or do you constantly seek external distraction? Do you fear aging, or can you see the wisdom and liberation that comes with experience? Are you able to let go of what no longer serves you, or do you cling to the past? Do you seek deeper meaning in life, or are you content with superficiality? Do you feel a sense of inner peace, even amidst chaos? In others, especially women, look for the woman who offers insightful, non-judgmental advice. Observe those who are comfortable in their own skin, radiating an inner calm regardless of age or external circumstances. Notice the women who are not afraid to speak uncomfortable truths, but do so with compassion. Identify those who have navigated significant loss or transformation and emerged with greater wisdom and resilience. Recognize the value of older women in your life, mothers, grandmothers, mentors, and actively seek their counsel. Cultivating and embracing the sage, crone archetype. Integrating the sage crone archetype is a lifelong journey, but one that promises profound rewards for your happiness. Practice introspection and solitude. Dedicate time for quiet contemplation, journaling, meditation, or simply being in nature. Learn to listen to your inner voice without judgment. Embrace moments of solitude as opportunities for self-discovery rather than loneliness. Trust your intuition. Pay attention to your gut feelings, your dreams, and those subtle nudges from within. Practice acting on your intuition, even when it defies logic, and observe the outcomes. Embrace life's cycles. Understand that life is a series of beginnings and endings. Learn to let go of what no longer serves you, old beliefs, relationships, habits, and trust that new growth will emerge from the void. Seek wisdom, not just information. Read widely, engage in deep conversations, and learn from the experiences of others, especially elders. Prioritize understanding over mere accumulation of facts. Confront your shadows. The sage crone is unafraid to look at the darker aspects of the psyche, Engage in shadow work, exploring your fears, insecurities, and repressed emotions to integrate them and become more whole. Value experience over youth. Shift your perspective on aging. See it not as a decline, but as an accumulation of wisdom, resilience, and inner freedom. Honor the experiences that have shaped you. Cultivate detachment with compassion. Learn to observe situations and emotions without being overwhelmed by them. This detachment allows for clearer judgment and more effective action, while still maintaining empathy. Connect with nature. The cycles of nature mirror the wisdom of the crone. Spending time outdoors can help you reconnect with these ancient rhythms and foster a sense of belonging and peace. Conclusion: the path to authentic happiness. The sage crone archetype is not just for older women, it is an essential energetic component within every individual, male or female, at every stage of life. Ignoring this profound source of inner wisdom, intuition, and transformative power is a silent sabotage of our own happiness. We become disconnected from our deepest selves, fearful of change, and trapped in a cycle of superficiality. By consciously choosing to acknowledge, cultivate, and integrate the sage crone archetype, you embark on a journey towards authentic happiness. You learn to trust your inner compass, embrace the natural cycles of life, find meaning beyond the material, and live with integrity and self-possession. This integration leads to a richer, more resilient, and profoundly fulfilling life, where true contentment is not a fleeting external pursuit, but a deep, abiding inner state. It's time to stop ignoring the wisdom that lies within and unlock the happiness you truly deserve.